Welcome to Money Chat Today with your hosts Larry Steinhouse and Rick Lee. From the School of Hard Knocks, they present with years of knowledge on how to help you make more money and how to keep it.
Hi, I'm Larry Steinhouse.
And I'm Rick Lee.
Welcome to Money Chat Today. This is a show where we help people make more money and help them keep it.
That's right.
And today, we're really glad to have you on the show today because Rick and I have been waiting to do a show on the law of attraction for some time now. We're very fortunate to have Sue London today as our special guest. To tell you a little bit about Sue, Sue is a radio host, motivational speaker, life coach, and author. Her mission is to help people overcome difficult or traumatic situations in their lives. Through her radio show, Get Inspired, her coaching, her writing, her motivational speaking, Sue London offers caring support and optimism to people who are suffering. Over a 10-year period, Sue battled Crohn's disease, abuse, near death, divorce, and was given 30 minutes to live. When she became pregnant with her second child, Sue was told that it was unlikely she would deliver her baby. The disease had flared up and her health was in grave danger. Sue persevered and delivered a healthy baby girl. Fantastic.
Great.
The disease went into remission and never to return. Faced with a giant stop sign, Sue made the left turn of a lifetime, adopted a positive outlook, and never looked back. Sue went on to publish her inspirational life story, Soar Above It All, Overcoming Adversities in Life. This is a story of challenges and triumph over illness, abuse, disease, divorce, and near death. Sue has also authored 2 children's books. Now as an international radio host, Sue inspires audiences. Sue has regained her health. She is enjoying life in Burlington, Ontario, Canada, where she coaches people to make a positive life changes. Writes books, speaks professionally, and works in the community to share her passion of helping others get inspired. Sue's accomplishments include being nominated for Halton Woman of the Year in 2004 and awarded the Business Mastery Award in 2007 by John Asseroff, author of Major Picture Motion and book The Secret. Sue has been featured in over 50 magazines around the world. She has been interviewed on over 300 plus international radio shows.
Wow.
Sue is also being featured in an upcoming book this summer, A Doctor's Guide to Dog Therapy and Healing, The Power of Wagging Tails.
Cool.
She is again being featured in Jack Canfield's upcoming book, People Who Succeed. Recently, Sue was featured on cable television on the Pet Network. The segment was such a success, Sue was brought back to do 3 more segments. Sue's television career is really beginning to unfold.
Great.
Recently, Sue has become a radio talk show host for Transformation Talk Radio and will be heard by millions there. She can also be heard on WBLQ 1230 AM radio out of New England, New York, Rhode Island, and Connecticut. Sue is thrilled and grateful to be making such a positive difference around the world for many.
Cool.
Welcome, Sue London. We are
glad to have you. Thanks for coming on today.
Fantastic. We don't usually get celebrities.
No, this is yeah. We've been waiting to have you.
Well, it's great to be here.
Well, thanks a lot.
I love your area.
Well, both Rick and I spent some time reading your book, and I tell you, the things that you went through, wow, a lot. It's just
I know, that's absolutely amazing.
This and it just goes on and on and on. I have to ask you, what was really the worst part or the worst scenario that happened while you were going through all that?
The worst?
Yeah. What would you say?
Not knowing if I was going to live the next day. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
It was just, what's the next hour going to hold? What's the next day going to hold? What's going to happen to my kids? When my intestine burst, I basically was given 30 minutes to live. And when you're laying in that hospital bed thinking, okay, what's next? What's going to happen? It's a pretty scary thought, but you know what? It changed my life. It made me look differently, have a different outlook. I'm grateful for everything now. People know I'm grateful, and I'll tell you that. I look at, you never know what could happen in your hours to come, so I make it quite clear to people, if they've made a difference, you're going to know it.
Wow. So. And that's great. It's a wonderful message. I love that stuff. Now you have you talk about some of the other challenges in your book. We just talked about the one, the near-death experience, your intestine burst.
Right.
We mentioned in your bio, we mentioned Crohn's disease.
Yeah.
We mentioned divorce. Wow. Tell us a little bit about all of that.
Well, in 1989, I was diagnosed with having Crohn's disease, and it was tough. I went through a pity party. Why me? Why is this happening to me?
Sure, that's natural.
Here, I had a 9-month-old baby girl, and I, waited so long to have her then I have this baby, and then this disease hits. And at first I thought, this is great. I'm losing 60 pounds in, this short time, and, losing all the baby fat when you're pregnant. You guys wouldn't understand that. But I was really happy, with that.
Sure.
And so the doctor was concerned and did tests and said, this is not good. And I've ended up having over 17 surgeries with it.
17?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty intense. And I think that there was a lot of emotional stuff that really, that was harder for me. I started over time becoming the disease, not having a disease. So in other words, I got to a point where I can't go out. Where's the washroom? And and a lot of people that have this, because I've worked with over 7,000 people with the disease now, and this is a common trait, that you're afraid to do something because what if this happens? What if that happens? I can't eat this because this could happen. I was scared to take my baby to a park because when you think about it, some of the symptoms are chronic diarrhea, rapid weight loss, severe pain. For anyone who has had babies, that is nothing. The labor pain actually was a walk in the park. Other than having the pain with Crohn's, because it doesn't let up. It just constantly keeps going. So little things that, people don't think of. That, one day I decided I'd go out for a walk with my baby. I was pushing her, and I was throwing up on every driveway as I walked. And that was just to go around the block.
Wow.
So it was really intense. So, but I can honestly tell you, I was a huge worrier. And I had, was always worrying about the what ifs and that. So I had to really look at changing that, and I changed a lot about my life that wasn't working. And that disease now, the doctors told me was incurable, is completely gone. So anyone listening, you just know that, you can do it, you can cure it, there is a way. I changed everything in my life. Exercised, started eating a proper, healthy diet. Let go of the emotional stuff, the worry, and I was married to somebody at the time who was abusive, and went through divorce. I ended up learning that he had a girlfriend for 14 to 16 years of our marriage. Yeah, so that was like pretty tough. I went through.
Yeah.
So I got rid of him and went through a divorce, and now I'm happily remarried to a
Wonderful.
really great guy.
Oh, that's great.
So I've just changed everything in my life, and because I've done that, the disease is now gone. Doctors say maybe, if anything, maybe 1% chance of ever coming back.
Wow.
So that's.
So how do they say it's incurable and then tell you it's a 1% chance of coming back?
Well, if I had gone back to that old lifestyle,
I see.
Kept the stress there, and wasn't eating, wasn't exercising, going back to everything that I used to do, then it could have come back, right? But they don't see any sign of it. They've done tests. The doctors say no, I don't even have to see them anymore.
Wow. So what, and I have to ask, what really is Crohn's disease? I mean, you gave us some of the symptoms, but what really is it?
Crohn's disease, it can affect you anywhere in your intestinal tract, from your mouth all the way through your tract. And it's an inflammation.
I see.
So in our family, it is hereditary. My grandmother had diverticulitis. There's lots of different bowel conditions. And we've had it all through our family. Our family's actually missing gene 19. And that affects your bowel conditions and that. But also saying that, I really look at the emotional stuff behind the disease. And the common trait was worriers and that kind of stuff.
I've read that. I've read a lot about that.
There's a great book, Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life.
Yes.
You ever heard of that?
Yes, I have.
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Heard of that?
I have not.
That's that's a fascinating book.
You Can Heal Your Life.
You Can Heal Your Life
by Louise L. Hay.
It's a classic.
Yeah.
And it really is good.
It is. Well, if you look up what your condition is, it will tell you what the meaning is emotionally. So fear. I was fearful of the unknown. I was fearful of success. And really worried a lot. So in the book, she gives you your condition. She gives you, the reason, the emotional reason behind it, and there's an affirmation that you say that goes with that. So that you say that.
That book amazed me.
It's fantastic. And
the extent
I can't believe you haven't heard of it.
The extent to which she lists all the different illnesses, it's really intense. And some of the things that I struggled with, I saw right in there. In black and white, and it's like, whoa, so that's what's behind this.
It really is amazing. You have to get that book. I can't believe you don't have it.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Well, I think the research shows today it's something like 80 to 95% of illness and disease has its roots in emotional.
Totally, yeah.
Oh, I have to agree. I had a bad back problem. It was the same thing. I realized that when I calmed it down, my backache went away. So yeah, absolutely, I agree. You have to take care of your health, and you have to drop the emotions.
Yeah,
the emotions,
yeah, exactly.
Emotions will kill you. There's no doubt.
Yeah,
it's real clear. Now you talk a little bit about your dog Rocky, and I'm sad to hear of his passing a while back.
Well, you know what? For anyone listening, I can honestly tell you that an animal will come into your life for a reason. And Rocky is just your prime example of that. Because what happened for me 8 months before I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease, a neighbor had said to me that this puppy that was part of his litter got adopted, but he was trying everything to get me to take this dog from the beginning. And I had a dog Spot that was my sister. Me being an only child, that was like my sister that I had for like 20 years. And when I lost her, I thought, no, I'm never getting another dog because I didn't want to feel that heartache from losing her.
Sure.
So here's his neighbor trying to convince me to take this puppy, and so anyways, I did not take Rocky. Rocky got adopted. Year later, the owner came back and said, look, I can't keep the dog. If you can't find a home, we're going to have to put it to sleep. Well, I'm one that if I don't want to see an animal put to sleep just because it didn't have a home. So I gave Rocky a home thinking I'm saving his life. He went on to save my life over and over.
How about that?
And so what happened, he got me through disease, he got me through illness, he got me through difficult pregnancy, got me through the challenges with my ex and abuse and then, divorce. And he started going downhill when Ross, my Mr. Wright, came into my life. And so he passed away December the 3rd, 2001.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But he's
yeah.
Anyway, so what did he do for you? I mean, basically, did you just hug him, or was it more than that, or?
Oh yeah, it was much more than that. Rocky would sense what I needed.
Okay.
And he would give me unconditional love. He would ease my pain. When I had the Crohn's disease, the pain associated with that, I was one that I would curl up in a really tight ball, hold my breath, and just like tense up. So anyone who goes through pain, when you tense up, your pain is going to be worse.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So what he would do is he would come up beside me, and if I'm, say, laying in bed, right, he would come up beside me, and he would lay his head right here, and he would just breathe really loudly, and it drove me nuts. And I'd push him away, and I'm thinking, okay, you're driving me nuts, right? He'd come back up again, he'd lay his head down, and he kept doing this over and over until I finally just let him. And I found that what was happening was he was trying to get me to, to breathe. And so I would focus then when he sit here and focus on my breathing. And I focused on how he was breathing, and I would, breathe. I was loosening up. Wow. And so that was, he was helping me take the focus off my pain. And other times what he would do is if I was laying there, pain really bad, and maybe I was breathing, he would lick my legs. I love when animals lick me. My family think I'm nuts, but I love it. And so he would lick my face, or he.
Yeah, I had a cat that I had a cat that used to lick my face.
Yeah.
And it was, my current cat doesn't, but I had one that did, and it was just so cool.
Yeah. Well, see.
Yeah.
So that's what he would do that. If I was laying in bed and I was maybe having a pity party, like, why am I going through this? Why me kind of thing, he would come and he would nudge me to get me moving, to go out for a walk, that kind of thing. So he would sense what I needed, and he would give me whatever that was that I would need. And, yeah.
How amazing that you turned him down the first time and accepted him a year later.
He was totally meant to be. Totally meant to be in my life.
It's just such a heartwarming story. It's great.
Yeah.
So tell us about the book. Is it Rocky's Trip to the Hospital? Is that correct?
That's my first book.
Right.
And that's the story of when Rocky came to the hospital when I was pregnant with my second daughter. That's when my weight went down to just 80 pounds.
That's low.
Yeah, it is. And I'm about 160, at that time. So that's like half my weight, right? And so when I was in the hospital, I was there for about four and a half months. And
4.5 months in the hospital.
Yeah. And,
wow,
and the doctor
that's a lot.
came in and he said, either you're going to make it or the baby will. You got to make a choice who's going to make it. Again, I'm a firm believer that everything in our life happens for a reason. So I fired the doctor. And I got a new doctor because I thought, no, I'm pregnant for a reason. So I got this new doctor, and the new doctor was talking to my family, and they were saying how Rocky was still sitting at that door where I left. And he was crying tears, he wouldn't eat, he was, becoming upset because we were so close. I'm in the hospital, I'm missing my normal life. At the time I had a 5-year-old, another little girl at home, and I was missing her normal life. You know, when you're in a hospital for so long,
Wow.
that's a long time,
Oh, yeah.
you know, to miss your life.
4.5 months.
So what happened, my family and the doctor talked, and they agreed that the dog, Rocky, should come to the hospital. But in 1992, dogs were not looked upon as therapy animals, like working
Right, right,
animals.
right.
So in order for me to see Rocky, I had to get outside on the patio at the hospital. So the next day, the nurse came in my room, and she said, "Oh, Sue, we've got this little surprise for you outside. And she's going to get you a wheelchair." And I thought, no, I'm not waiting for a wheelchair. I just missed my dog so much. I just was heading down, right? So I got out of bed. And now, at this point, I was unable to walk just 4 feet to my washroom because I was so weak, losing that kind of weight, and I was deficient, dehydrated, right? I had an IV pole with me.
Wow.
And all I focused on was, I'm going to see my dog. I'm going to hold my dog. My dog is going to lick me. You know, a little 14-pound Shih Tzu. I missed that cuddling, right?
Oh, wow.
So I got out of bed, and I grabbed my IV pole, and I focused on the door. And so I got to the door, and then I thought, okay, I'm going to see Rocky. I'm going to see Rocky. And I got out in the hall, and I grabbed the railing, and grabbing the IV pole. I'm going to see Rocky. I'm going to see Rocky. So just kept focusing on that kind of stuff. So I got down in the hall, and then I was, slow inching my way. And as I got closer, I saw the glass door with there's Rocky wagging his tail. And I got down at the glass door, and I just let go of the railing, and my pace got quicker because I was so excited. I totally forgot that I was so weak and in pain.
Right.
All I was focusing on was this dog. So then when I opened the door, Rocky jumped in my arms, and he was licking me, and I started to cry. And it was 2 days later after that I went home, feeling so much better. And that's when my health turned. So that's just an example of what he did for me. So pretty powerful.
So tell me about how you help others. I mean, that's a fascinating story. I mean, do you help them? Do you suggest they get pets, or is it just one of the therapies? Okay.
Oh yeah, to me, everyone get a pet. Best medicine.
How about that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can attest to that.
Gosh, what stories? I was doing pet therapy. My husband and I have gone into local children's hospitals, and we take our dogs, Molly, Willie, they're little Shih Tzus, and they've gone into our local children's hospital. And basically, what Rocky did for me, and with my dog and my family helping me, now my husband Ross and I are helping kids as well. And so I will go in and I will read Rocky's Trip to the Hospital book. And I will say that, this is the friend of Rocky and how Rocky helped me. So-and-so has come to help you. So just the mindset that this is Rocky's friend, Rocky who helped me, is really helping kids. And then the kids who were in the rooms who didn't want to, they were just focusing on their pain, like how I used to in my room, right? I would have an autographed picture of me with the dogs, and then I would autograph it and say, here's a picture of me with my dog, and if you ever feel better in the next hour or so, come on down. But my whole mindset was, my plan was get them out of there, because that's what the nurses wanted me to do, is help them get out of their bed and get moving, right? So one particular story, I had gone to this one room, and there was a little girl laying there, and she has a whole cloth on her head, had 5 surgeries in the week. And the nurse said, whatever you can do, get her moving. So I took her through a visualization, and I took her to Italy is actually where she wanted to go. So we visualized she went to Italy. So as we went through the process, I saw her take the cloth off her head, and she started feeling better, more color in her face, more energy around her. And after seeing the picture of the dog, she said, oh my gosh, I want to go see Willie. So I got her in a wheelchair, took her down, and by the end of that time together, she had taken Willie's leash. She's in this wheelchair. She's reeling it with one hand, moving the wheelchair, and she's hanging onto the leash with Will. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, all I can picture is this dog getting his leash wrapped around the wheel of the chair.
Oh wow!
He did awesome, and she's going back and forth. So that's just an example of our dogs doing pet therapy at the hospital, and how that book has helped the kids.
Fantastic.
That's amazing. Now you do a lot on radio too. You have two different inspirational shows.
They're basically like the same title, Get Inspired.
Right.
And they're on 2 different, actually they're like 3 different areas.
Oh, okay.
So.
That's exciting. Now tell me how you started that. Yeah, how did that?
It was never meant to be.
How did that come about?
Well, I was working with Jack Canfield.
Right, okay.
And during his coaching program, he said, what's your mission statement? And I said, well, I wanted to help people and animals around the world cope, heal, and move forward in life.
That's a good mission.
Well, you know what?
Yeah,
it's rewarding for sure.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
And so what happened, about 3 weeks later, I got a phone call. Did I want to go on a radio show. And I thought, okay, I've done radio before. This was an internet radio show. And I thought, I can't do this. I really, stink when it comes to technology, so I don't know how I'm going to do this. No one told me that it's just a matter you dial in a number and then press 1 to speak to the host, right? So I'm freaking out over this. I'm thinking, I can't do this. Like, this is going to be a challenge. Working with Jack Hanfield and his group, they were like, no, this is meant to be. You got to do this as part of your mission statement. Internet radio, that's fantastic for you, right? So I did the show, and before we started, I had my computer screen up, and the screen went funny. I can't tell you. It's like, before cable, how there'd be lines go through your TV?
Yeah, sure.
That's what happened with my screen. I thought, oh, Lord. Because I didn't know I didn't need my computer on. So there was a lot of things that were happening. Right?
Oh, sure.
So what happened, I get on the show, and I told the host, this is happening. She goes, no, shut your computer down. So I shut it down. So I'm on the show, and she introduces me, and I never heard from her for the rest of the half hour. I'm thinking, okay, what kind of host is this? This is really, like, I've never been on an interview where the host is not talking to me. And I just kept hearing intuitively, just keep talking, just keep talking. So I just kept talking and sharing, different tools and techniques to help people. And then 2 minutes before the show ended, she come back on and she says, well, Sue, thanks so much for being here, and that was great. And the show ended, and I thought, okay, that was really a different interview.
Wow, sounds like it.
So then she called my office, and she said, oh, Sue, you've got to know, thank gosh that you just kept talking, because what you don't know, the switchboard crashed.
Oh, no.
And I had no way to talk on the show. And she says, you ran my show. And I'm like, oh, no, this is awful, right?
Wow.
And, the after effect that's
Sure.
like, oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Right?
Then it hits you.
And so then what happened, she says, oh, by the way, congratulations, you got your own show. I said, I didn't ask for a show. And she goes, no. She says, you're already signed up. You got your own show. And I said, I did not sign up for a show. And she said, and see what happens, the show is on blogtalkradio.com, the website, right? So with those, you normally have to sign up. I did not sign up for my own show. I was already signed up. So I swear there was a lot of divine intervention happening there with all that,
Very
right?
neat.
So then what happened with that, I thought, okay, well, I'm supposed to do this show. Well, where am I going to get these guests? And I was really fighting it. I was like, I'm looking for every excuse. I'm too busy to do this, and how, I was looking for all kinds of excuses, right? So then what happened, I thought, okay, if I'm supposed to do this, then the guests will come to me, putting out the law of attraction.
Right.
And I wanted people to come on the show that were going to help my listeners to create the life that they desired. Right, so I thought, okay, get inspired. That's the name of the show.
Right. Okay. Good.
Just start having dreams and
Good
everything
title.
was coming to me. Right. So then my first show I did was January the 7th, 2009, and it went great. And people were emailing me, thank you, and sharing their stories. I thought this is, going pretty good, and things are falling into what my mission statement was. Then in March of this year, so this is 2011. I got a call from a producer's assistant saying that my show, they really like it. And they wondered if I'd like to go on local radio. And so my show now is also heard on WBLQ 1230 AM radio, and also on Transformation Talk Network, transformationtalkradio.com site, and iTunes. And so I've got 1 million listeners now for the show, and just the stories I have from people. So my love for animals, I'm really excited because when I go back home, I'm going to be recording a show with Dr. Bernie Siegel.
Really? Okay.
And because he's from Connecticut.
Okay.
And the station's heard in Connecticut.
Right.
So we've teamed up with the local animal shelters there, and we're going to make videos that will be on the show page where you can see the animals up for adoption.
Oh, that's
and
great.
so we're going to talk about animals as healers and teachers.
That's fantastic.
That is a fabulous lineup, because I've read his book.
I've had him on the show.
And just the amazing, what he talks about, the power of the mind and healing is just absolutely incredible.
I've had him on my show a few times now.
Wow.
And he has talked about, he had a rabbit smudge. He no longer has a rabbit. But he would go do his rounds, and he'd have smudge in his doctor's jacket in a pocket.
Really?
And he'd say, here, hang on to my rabbit while I, do your file or whatever,
Right.
look at your chart. So that's where, he really works with animals in his practice, but he's got like a real zoo at home. A lot of kids and a lot of animals and that. So, yeah, we can go on for hours when I bring him on the show. So
Wow, that's
I'm
exciting.
excited about that.
So, I'm trying to, it almost sounds like everything that you recommend is really all about animals. It's fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. I've kind of been on withdrawal for the last 11 days.
I'm sure, yeah.
Three
I feel
dogs at
sad that
home.
we took you away from your
Oh,
dogs.
yeah.
Well, we had a great holiday, but I had to phone home a couple nights ago. I said to my daughter, "Can you just put a dog on the phone? Let me just hear him bark or something." And so the dogs were on the speakerphone hearing me saying, "Do you want a treat, guys?" I was hearing them sniff, so that's pretty sad, I know, but I love my dogs so much.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So there was a part in your book, and I actually have to talk about it.
Okay.
There was a part that actually you called the turning point, which was basically the coffee mug.
The coffee mug.
The coffee mug that said "Don't quit when things go wrong."
Oh yeah.
As they sometimes will.
Yeah.
I was just, I mean, and I just thought it was great. And, and if I recall the book correctly, it was like, somebody gave you the mug.
Yeah.
It sounded like you were pretty depressed at that point.
Yeah.
The moment was on, and it seems like the book takes off from that point.
Yeah.
And and if you, as a matter of fact, if you wouldn't mind reading it, I think the audience would love it.
Oh, okay. So the poem was, "Don't quit. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile, but you have to sigh. When care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of the clouds of doubt, and you never can tell how close you are. It may be near when it seems afar. So stick to the fight when your heart is hit. It's when things go wrong that you must not quit."
That is phenomenal.
That is real. That is really, really good.
It makes so much sense.
And you know what I have found is that, when times are tough, it's like that's where you're about to have a turning point. And, I've really hung on to that. And when I'm coaching clients, I'll say to them, you're just about ready to go through that new door. So just go with it. And, you persevere and you can get through it. And I always say, if I can do it, anybody can do it. So, yeah.
It's true. So what would you, what was the last thing you could leave us with that basically would help someone, heal themselves or move forward? Somebody's stuck. They just don't know what to do. They don't even want to get out of bed.
Sure. Well, I would say that, look, at everything in your life is happening for a reason. And like what happened in my life, now I can help people all around the world. I'm helping animals.
You certainly can.
And if I can do it, anybody can. The biggest thing that I would recommend everyone doing is get rid of your negative baggage. And one of the things that really helped me to do that was writing total truth letters. You ever heard of that?
Yes, I have.
Yeah?
You and Rick, you have so much in common. I feel like I'm left out.
Oh, we got a lot of work to do with you, right?
Right. Which you don't necessarily have to mail, right?
No.
Right.
In fact, you probably shouldn't.
No. So what you're doing, this is a process to help you get all of your negative emotions out of you. Okay? So, for example, when I was going through abuse from an ex-husband and then learning he had a girlfriend for 14 of their 16-year marriage, that I had a lot of anger in me and a lot of negative emotions.
Oh,
right?
anybody would.
So what happened, I started writing these total truth letters, and I put, "Dear, so-and-so." And in the letter, you put all of these feelings you're feeling. Okay, all the negative, like, "Why did you do this? I don't like how you did this." You can even say those words you're taught as a child never to say. Okay? Bad words. Okay? Because no one's going to read this. All you're doing is you're writing it, and then you sign it, you date it. You do not reread any of it. Because if you reread
That's a good
it, you're
distinction.
putting it back inside of you. Okay?
That's a really good distinction.
Right? Okay.
Right.
So then what happens, you write this letter, okay? You have not reread it. You're getting all of your feelings out, and then right away tear it up or burn it. And so what's happening is you're getting it out of you, and by tearing up or burning it is you're letting it go. Okay, and so what can happen with that is you may start feeling your body feels lighter, your shoulders, you may not feel like pressure on yourself, you might feel calmer. And what happens with this is you might write a letter and you think, okay, you know what, I feel like I've got it all out. And then maybe a week or a month later you might have something else come up that you have to write another letter to that person. So you write another one. And the way that this works is like an onion. So you're peeling back the layers. So you peel the layer, another emotion might come up. You peel back the layer by writing the letter, and then another emotion come up. So for me, with my ex, I wrote him 39 of these letters.
Nice.
Yeah. But now I'm fine. I can see him and I don't have any emotions or that. So it was very, very healing for me. And I went through a lot of stuff with the Crohn's disease. And, I was being force-fed food that I knew wasn't right for me. There was a lot of stuff that I had to clear with that, so I wrote letters around that. I've taught my kids to do this. And it's really a great way, to get your stuff out and you don't get in conflict with anyone. And you're not sharing it with the person.
No.
It's just for you to get it out, right?
Wow.
And you can do this with a person living or that has crossed over. So it's very healing.
Wow, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is something that I totally recommend everyone to do. Every time I'm working with coaching clients, this is part of one of the homework assignments they will get. And it's just so healing to do.
So how
That's
can our guests,
powerful.
I'm sorry, so how can our listeners or viewers
Yeah.
find out more about you? What is your website?
Okay, my website is asksuelondon.com. So it's
Okay.
AskSuelondon.com.
Great, and there'll also be a link, of course, below that. And we want to thank you. We're so honored to have you.
Yeah,
Thank you
Thank you so much for having me on the show.
For making the trip.
Yeah, it was really wonderful to be here and meeting you in person. We've talked a lot on the phone.
Absolutely, yeah. It's pretty exciting. And that's it, folks. Thanks.
Thanks.